Okay, we're going to go over a sequence of transformations. So a sequence is more than one thing happening in a row, right? And we know the transformations or translations, which is a slide, reflections, which is a flip, rotations, which is a turn, and dilations, which is when a shape grows or shrinks. Okay. So let's recognize these. Go ahead and recognize those on your own and then come back to the video and see if you were right. So this one here is a translation. It is a slide. It slid up. It did not reflect. Otherwise, this point and that point would be the same distance. So that's a slide. It just slid up. Okay, oops. This is a rotation. Because this just turned that way. Okay, you have to actually turn your paper to make it look like this. This is a reflection. It flipped over this line. Okay, so this long part of the trapezoid, both are equidistant from that line of symmetry that it reflected over. And this one here is a dilation. Okay, so C and C prime, this image got closer to the origin. This whole entire shape got smaller. So that means our scale factor would be less than 1, right? So it would be a fraction or a decimal number. And this one right here is a slide. It slid. It did not reflect. A reflection would be like that. Okay, so this is a translation. And this one right here is a rotation. So if you were thinking it was a reflection maybe, a reflection would be directly in this quadrant or directly here, and it's not. So this actually rotated. It turned all the way around, okay? All right, so now we're going to put them together, and we're going to try and figure out which sequence these shapes went through. So here are 4 options that we're going to go through. So it says the red figure and the blue figure are congruent. Yours are not in color. This is actually the red, and that's the blue. Okay. It says which describes the sequence in which the blue is the image. So if blue is the image, that was there second, okay? And this is the original, our red. So this first one is asking about a rotation. So I'd like you to grab a piece of paper and go ahead and trace that. Go ahead and take a second, press pause, and trace that image. It doesn't have to be super perfect, okay? Make sure you're just sitting over one quadrant. Your line is right here on the axis. Please make sure that it's done just correctly. Okay, now it says we're gonna rotate this 90 degrees counterclockwise. So 90 degrees, we're gonna move one quadrant, one of these two, right? And counterclockwise goes from 12, not to 3, but to 9, right? So we're gonna go counter right there, okay? So right away, I'm noticing that here's my right angle and here is my right angle. So the next thing it tells me to do is translate. It doesn't really matter how I translate this. I'm not going to get there, right? Because I would actually have to turn it again to get it there. So, sorry, I'm going to make sure I did that right. There we go. I can kind of rule this one out, but let's check how easy it is. If you're not noticing that, I'm going to go left, 7 units left and 1 unit up. So I'm going to go left and up, and that actually takes me further away from this. So I can definitely rule this option out, okay? I'm going to go back to my original. I'm going to set this back on my original, and it says rotate 90 degrees, one quadrant, right? Clockwise. So now I'm going to go from 12 to 3, okay? And that's where it goes. Now I'm noticing that my right angle is in the right spot if I were just to slide, right? Let's see, it says left and up. So 7 left and 1 up. So remember, I want to get here. So if I go left and up, does that get me here? No, it does not. So I can rule that one out too. Okay, put this back on that original shape. Make sure your right angle is in the right place. And this says rotate the triangle 90 degrees, again, one quadrant, counterclockwise. We've already done that. We know that counter is going to go 12 to 9. And again, a translation is not going to get me there, but let's figure it out. So 1 left and 7 down. So just slightly left and all the way down. Nope, it does not get me here. We're going to rule that one out. Now we know this is our answer, but we definitely want to check it. Because it is possible that we made an error on one of these three. So we're going to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. We know one quadrant, and we know we end up here. We go 12 to 3. And then we translate it 1 left. So we, look at that, we kind of are just 1 unit off, right? So 1 left and 7 down. And yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I must have miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I go down and it does, it sits me right on top. One thing I want to check is that right angle is going to be right there, and it is. So there we go, we've done it correctly. So it's really a process of elimination. So let's go down to this one. Okay, so let's figure out the 2 transformations they want us to check out. Again, this is our red, and this is our blue. Okay, let's mark this prime. This is the second. This is the image. Okay, so the first one, they're all dilating first. Okay, so we've got to figure out if we shrunk or grew. And then it says, and then we translate. And then we translate. And then we translate. Okay, so we're going to go through a dilation and then translation. All right, so our dilation, we want to know about our scale factor. Oops, and if it's going to be greater than 1, or if we want it to be, less than 1 or greater than 1. So our image, did it shrink or did it grow? It definitely shrunk, right? So we want a number, how is that going to compare to 1? Okay, if we need to multiply it, it needs to be smaller than 1 if it gets smaller, right? So we want a number not bigger than 1, but smaller than 1. So what's a number smaller than 1? We've got a scale factor of 1/2. Oh, that's smaller than 1, so maybe A is an option. We've got a scale factor of 2. Is that smaller than 1? Nope, so B is out. Let's see, we've got a scale factor of 1/2. Oh, that's smaller than 1, so maybe that's it. And a scale factor of 2. Nope, we want it smaller than 1. So we're choosing between 2. So we didn't really have any work to do, and we've already eliminated 2 options. Okay, now we're going to translate. So once we've got smaller, and really we know that if we dilate this image is going to remain in this quadrant, right? But every single one of these points is going to be closer to the origin, right? So I moved this a little bit closer, moved that closer, moved that closer. It's not exact, but it's going to be somewhere around there, okay? So now, let's see, it's asking, are we going to go down? So about 4 units down and 5 units right. So if I move this down and to the right, does that get me there? It does. Okay, so let's see if they're going to be asking us for more specifics. So that's a pretty good answer. Let's see if they want to be more specific. So let's see, after we dilate and then translate 6 units up and 8 units left. So let's see if going up and left is going to get us there. So if I go left and up, does that get me here? No, it does not. So I did not have to be super specific and count those. All I had to figure out was down and right, and it got me there. So A is the option.